What's up, everybody? I just got done watching the Warski live debate between our favorite YouTube e-celeb personalities, Sargon of Akkad, Richard Spencer, Jean-Francois Garipay, Andy Warski, the host, and Styx Hexenhammer 666. All very interesting YouTube personalities, not the greatest fit for a white nationalism debate, which is what I characterize this debate as, but it was interesting and very entertaining to watch. However, I think this debate suffered from a lot of pedantic definition chasing, lots of very silly ideological feuds back and forth between Sargon and Spencer because they're so wildly different in their viewpoints. I think it was a bit muddled at points. There was lots of shouting over one another, which is not very good. I think for the most part, steps could have been taken to avoid this. Although it was not the worst debate I've ever seen, it was quite good. I think it could have been even better if we take some of the steps that I'm going to talk about here. So let's go over individual performance. Sargon of Akkad. Sargon was extremely pedantic, tried to obfuscate a lot, strawman the hell out of Richard Spencer, was very over-emotional, and didn't really try and participate as well as he could have. I think if he had been a lot less emotionally invested, been a lot less pedantic and snarky towards Spencer, he could have had a much more productive debate. However, there are some things I'll say about Spencer that will kind of even this out. So in the future, Sargon needs to be much less emotional. He needs to be much less of a smug asshole about the whole thing. Because, come on, we all know exactly what Sargon is thinking. He's thinking that he is ideologically superior to Spencer, so he is looking down at Spencer, and his arguments suffer because of that. He got blown the fuck out on multiple occasions. Go back and watch the debate where Sargon just goes off the walls with being very emotional and trying to focus on one particular thing. In fact, it reminds me of the whole Kraut drama, where Kraut was very focused on a particular set of data that was just destroying the rest of his arguments because he was so focused on one little thing. So keep that in mind if you're going to go back and watch this debate. Now, Richard Spencer. I'm not a fan of Richard Spencer. I think a lot of his ideas are poisoning the well of European identity movements. I think that he's a statist, so he's very susceptible to National Socialism in particular. I think he's very susceptible to the corruption of a large, powerful state. And this is a very large topic that I'm not going to get into right now, but as far as it goes, Richard Spencer is a caricature of European identity movements, and I don't think that he's a very good fit. I don't think he certainly doesn't speak for me, and he doesn't speak for all the rest of the people in the world who don't think like him but are pro-European identity. So it's very strange. The other thing about Richard Spencer is that throughout this entire debate, he was very what's the word? Very nondescript. All of the things that he said were very empty, very long-winded, poetic, empty, virtuous platitudes that don't actually mean anything. And this is why I think Sargon really tried to push for more specific policy and ideologies, because Richard Spencer didn't present any of that in the argument. He was very drawn out and very emotional as well, very heavily emotionally invested in this debate. And I don't know, there was no actual discussion really going on between Sargon and Spencer. It was just an ideological clash that erupted in emotional yelling and infighting. So it's not very productive, although very entertaining. So Styx Hexenhammer. I really enjoy Styx Hexenhammer's content. He's a great libertarian mind when it comes to YouTube politics. However, I think he's out of place when it comes to the white nationalism debate. I think he would. I think jumping from talking about the Trump politics and libertarianism and American politics, jumping from that and going straight into white nationalism against Richard Spencer is kind of a leap. I think he needs to have a debate with a smaller time white nationalist YouTuber perhaps, and try and get his foot in the door when it comes to these types of debates. I don't think he was a great addition to this, although I enjoy hearing him speak. And I wish Sargon had quieted down just a bit so that we could hear more from Styx, but he was a bit out of his element. per se, and he didn't really add a whole lot of new ideas to the discussion because he's more of a secular, libertarian, non-identitarian type person. So, be that as it may, I think he was just fine in this debate. He was not as snarky and did not try to obfuscate his argument, did not strawman Richard Spencer, I think maybe once or twice. But next person, got to talk about JF, my man, Jean-Francois. A very intelligent person, very well educated in biology. Of course, he is a biologist. I think putting him as a moderator in this debate was a mistake. I think that he should have been a part of the discussion. Whether he played a part on the white nationalist side or a neutral side or on Sargon's side doesn't matter. I think he should have stepped in and been allowed to speak more. He adds a lot more to the discussion in just a few words than the rest of the personalities that are in the debate combined. So that speaks volumes about what the debate was actually about. And as far as the host, Andy Warski, I think that he needs to do a lot better job of moderating. He did fine. There were some moments where he could have stepped in and done a better job controlling his format. It is his show. He should be a lot more structured if he wants a serious debate. If he just wants a live stream hangout, which is the kind of vibe I get from this, I understand. That's just fine. You can do what you want. But I think if you want a very serious, high-level, structured debate, you're going to need to put some more work in. You're going to have to get off Google Hangout, go into a TeamSpeak or a Discord, something where you can individually mute people for the sake of keeping things not one-sided and not have people dogpile on top of each other. So in the future, maybe look towards something like that. But for the most part, I think Andy did just fine. He is very funny. He is a great host. But he needs to work on his structure of serious debates. If he's going to move towards serious debates, it needs to be structured. And this debate, this live stream was #1 on YouTube for quite a while. I think it hit almost 13,000 viewers, which is really good. So in the future, if he wants to hit that kind of viewership numbers, he needs to work on his moderating skills. So now a couple more people jumped in to the discussion as it went on, and I don't understand why. This kind of goes back to what I was saying just now about Andy, where he needs to work on his moderating skills. Have a set list of people who are going to be in the debate. If it's going to be team-based, have the team set, laid out, done, no more additions, leave it at that. So having someone like V, who I believe is a Romanian YouTuber, very much on the side of Sargon, having him jump in is completely pointless. Throughout the part of the debate that he was engaged in was nonsensical. He added nothing to the debate. It was very much a copycat of Sargon, and I don't think that it was necessary to bring him in on the call. I think it just muddled the stream even more so than it already was. So don't bring him on anymore. If you want to do a 1v1 between him and Millennial Woes, that would be great. I think that would be an interesting debate. But don't bring him into the big boy stage debate. I don't think he's ready for it yet. And in particular, I find V very annoying. I think he's not the best debater. He's very pedantic. He's very emotional. He's very... what did he say earlier? I was watching another stream. He said he was very girly. I think that sums it up pretty well. And then we had, of course, Millennial Woes jumped in at one point. I think that if JF was going to moderate and it was going to be Styx and Sargon versus Spencer, I think Millennial Woes should have been invited sooner. I think he should have jumped in right from the start, so it would be an even 2 versus 2. I think that would have been better. For the most part, I think Millennial Woes has an interesting opinion, and I think it's worth hearing, but he's not quite as well read as someone like Spencer or Sargon or Styx. I think he needs to do a lot more research, and he needs to really sort out his philosophy and his ideology. He needs to sort that out before he jumps into a very heavy hitter debate like this was. So while his addition to the stream was not bad, I don't think it was necessary, and I think it would have been better if he had stayed out a little bit more. And towards the end, someone jumped in by the name of Kevin. I don't know him. I've never seen him before. He added literally nothing to the discussion. I think it was pointless. And as I said, Andy needs to focus on having a structured debate where people just can't jump in and out, because that's not very helpful. Even if you're watching the stream, if you're not a part of the stream and you just jump in and out as time goes on, I don't think that's very helpful for the debate. I think that's very very loose and is more of just kind of a general chat kind of thing. But I think what he wants to do is turn this into a high level debate, which you cannot have people jumping in and out randomly as time goes on. But anyway, I'm going to do a separate video on the content of the debate, which is going to take a little bit longer because it involves my own personal opinions on the thing. But this was a synopsis of the debate. I can't wait for part 2. It's going to be fantastic. Hopefully Sargon doesn't get blown the fuck out again and become very over emotional. I would like to see a more serious debate between him and someone he is ideologically opposed to that isn't a low tier pleb leftist or communist. So that's about all. Thanks for watching.